It's Joe Flacco time for the Cincinnati Bengals. Flacco keeps his career alive for at least one more stop. A trader to Cincinnati this week. And of course, trader to Cincinnati this weekend, Joe Flacco starting at Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. Let's break it down. Teddy covers from WagerTalk.com with a big game breakdown for Cincy and Green Bay. Right now, look at the Odds Logic live odds screen. I'm seeing the Packers minus 14.5, pretty much across the board. Total 44.5. There is just breaking news about Cincinnati. That's Jamar Chase. Illness downgraded to questionable for Sunday's game in Green Bay. And if you take Jamar Chase out of the equation, you've got T. Higgins for Flacco to throw to. But it's not like Cincinnati's a team right now that can afford to lose a whole lot more superstar players. Again, this is a Bengals team whose roster is very top heavy. They paid their stars. They paid Chase. They paid Burrow. They paid Higgins. They paid Hendrickson. They need all those guys to be playing. Burrow's already out. If Chase misses too, it is a big loss for a team that if they're going to hang within this number, they're going to need production from their receiving core. The offensive line's been bad consistently for Cincinnati this year, and that could be a big issue with Flacco behind center. And look, I get it. Flacco gives them a spark. All right. There was no spark there with Jake Browning. Flacco gives them something. And Flacco is the type of quarterback who's comfortable throwing it up, allowing his receivers to make plays on the ball. What does that mean? That means you get some big gainers when Flacco's in the game. It also means the potential for interceptions. Potentially interceptions in bunches. And that's something the Packers were talking about a lot during their bye week. Before I talk a little bit more about this ballgame, I want to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like these breakdowns, please hit that like button. Done. Bing. That's all I ask. It makes all the difference to the YouTube algorithms. We appreciate it very much. Like. If you want to comment below, tell us what you think about this game or whatever's going on this weekend in the NFL. We appreciate those comments. And of course, if you haven't done so already, more than 222,000 of you are following Wager Talk TV on YouTube. Become one of us. Become one of them. I'm following too. You get instant alerts every time these videos go live. It is helpful, and I encourage you, join the channel. 222,000 of you. Like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate that very, very much. I went on Bet On It, one of Wager Talk's signature shows this week, and talked about how I wanted to buy the Green Bay Packers off a bye and a tie. And of course, the Packers coming off a game in Dallas where they went 9 for 11 on third downs, 5 for 5 in the red zone, touchdowns, and yet didn't find a way to win. The first game all season where Jeff Hafley's defense have gotten gashed. They gave up 4 red zone touchdowns in 4 tries, and the defense was so bad they gave up the game-losing touchdown quickly enough to give the offense another chance. It was as bad a defensive performance as I've seen from Green Bay this season. So they've had a tie and a bye. And you read the quotes out of the bye week, and this was a team that felt like they lost. You know. In addition, all right, the Packers got an interception in the red zone against Detroit in week 1. Since then, the defense has a grand total of 1 takeaway. That came on a desperation 4th down heave at the end of the first half in Cleveland against Flacco. That was picked off. But really, the defense has yet to force a fumble in 4 games this season. They haven't forced turnovers the way they expected to. And this was a point of emphasis throughout the postseason, throughout the offseason, was creating turnovers. Matt LaFleur, quote, "There's been a couple more out there for us that we haven't quite capitalized on, just hasn't rolled our way up to this point." They're expecting more in terms of the turnover department here. And it's certainly a defense that's been pretty darn good. All right. The fact that they got gashed and haven't forced turnovers, and now they're going against a Flacco who, oh, by the way, they've seen already this season. I'll call that advantage Green Bay in this regard. 14.5 points is a lot to lay in an NFL game. The back door is open. The front door is open. You know, they don't necessarily have film on Flacco in this offense. But Green Bay, you can't compare. You know, you look at Green Bay's offensively against Cincinnati's defense. Where do the Bengals stops come from? I don't see him getting a whole lot of stops. You know, especially, again, with the Packers hungry and focused off a tie and a bye. So the only question here is, are we going to see the offense, since you light up the scoreboard? And we haven't in basically any game this season so far, with the exception of week 2 against Jacksonville, where Browning was in and was just chucking the ball up. And that can happen. But I'm not convinced it happens here. If I'm playing, I'm laying. Count me as a Packers believer on Sunday in the NFL. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. 64% football run, 65% all sports run. The college has been rock solid. The baseball has been rock solid. NFL, crappy weekend last week. All right, flat out. Did not have a good week. That being said, full year, we're doing all right. And I expect to be back on track. So check out my page, wt.buzz/TC, to get on board for any package this weekend. If you're looking to partner up, now is an opportune time to do it. Again, wt.buzz/TC. Like, comment, follow, and best of luck with all your bets this weekend. Thanks for watching Wager Talk TV.